Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Vibe Coding Live. We've got Carl here. I am Beth. Carl, what are we doing today?
Okay, so this is very interesting because Junmi and I did the first part, and then you weren't there, and then you were there for the first part, for the very first part. So I'm very curious to see how this will be today when you haven't seen how some of the additional things that we got to. Okay, what I wanted to go through a little quickly is just a quick little recap of what we did last week. So share my screen there. Okay.
There we go.
Quick recap. We created the PRD in Code Guide. So we used ChatGPT, created the outlines for a project resource document, for a UI development plan, for an implementation plan. And then we took everything that ChatGPT outputted, put it into Code Guide. So it gave us documents, right? So here is the PRD. Then we have all these other documents to help us out: app flow document, tech stack document, front end, back end, flowchart. All those things has been created, which is awesome. And then what we did is we took the project unification document, everything that was talked about. And I love, again, Code Guide's really nice because if you copy the prompt, it actually shows you which tool you're going to use. So I said, obviously, Lovable. So it copied the prompt. We put the prompt in. So this was a pretty comprehensive prompt. And this is where we are today. This is the starting point of our website.
Nice.
And yeah, that's where we are. And today, you and I will, I guess, be kind of vibe coding it along.
Yeah. So I know that at the end of last episode, some of the things that you thought you were going to do were like get it up and running and do some stuff with WordPress integration. And those are Junmi specific things. So that's unlikely to happen now. But we might engage in some more features or something.
Sure.
What were you thinking?
I think let's go through this page by page.
Yeah.
And we obviously want to, and we're looking at this as vibe coders, right? So
Right.
I'm kind of treating this as I don't know how to code.
Yep.
I'm trying to shut off that part of my brain and be like, okay, what do I do now? And it's interesting because even the person that we're following, Prajwal, pretty much kind of leaves it open-ended about what we do in here. So we're like, okay, Beth, let's just try to make this work.
Yeah.
That's where I think like let's just have some fun. Let's try to make this work. A couple things in terms of Lovable, which I kind of like too, is you're able to chat, and so it doesn't implement the entire plan. Nice. I'm not going to push anything to Supabase right now.
Okay.
I'm not going to push anything to GitHub. I think let's work it in here. And then we can edit some tasks. But like, in your opinion, I guess let's go through the website here. It's just refreshing it, I guess. It's too complicated to go back and try to go through the PRD.
Yeah, no worries.
But let's just, I want to make I'm not sure what it's doing, so let's just refresh that again. Okay. So, do we have, looking at the chat here too. Okay. So where do you want to start? Let's see first if it works, like from a navigation, the pages that we want. So we have episodes.
Right. Awesome.
We have an About Us page.
Okay.
Right.
Great.
And then we have a sponsors page, which is, I was talking to Junmi. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to have the hero in the sponsors page.
Okay. No, you're right.
There's a login button. The white doesn't make any sense for some of this stuff.
True.
Um, and then we didn't have a logo to put in, but that's okay. We can add that in. So I'm not sure what this is. I think that's the episode.
Yeah, I think that's what it's saying the episode
Yeah.
is.
And then I'm not sure why we would have these. Is this for the episode again? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Honestly,
interesting. Like, would those be the chapter links? Would those be the named chapter links for the 18-minute episode? Like, we have chapter links when we publish the episode after the fact, like the edited episode, but we have a bunch of chapter links. Like, it wouldn't fit in that spacing necessarily.
I think it's tags.
Oh, yes. Okay, that makes sense.
So I think, as you can see here, we have fundamentals, business, technical, ethics, but then it kind of made up machine learning basics.
Right.
I'm not sure, like, if I click enterprise.
And those are placeholder episodes. They're not actually ours.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
no videos or anything. So we see here beginner, advanced, +1. I don't know what the +1 doesn't make any sense. It clicks. So there are things that we definitely need to
Okay.
click on. About us. So why don't we, do you want to take it page by page first, or do you want to
Sure.
take it home page? Like, well, okay, so what do we want to do here?
So, are we actually looking to embed a real episode? And the other question that I have is, what is this embedded episode? Because our structure right now
Mhm.
is we do a live stream that is available immediately after the show. So we could put that in immediately. We
Yes.
also do a published episode that is available sometime later and would be
Yes.
harder to automate, though. Whoever puts up the published episode could make that part of their work process that
Yeah.
they update this. But like, for me, I'm thinking the real goal is something that could be automated.
Yes. So from previous lives when I built websites,
Mhm.
there's a couple things that you could do here. I think the first part I would probably ask is, from a video side, where is it being hosted? Which I'm assuming is YouTube.
Yep.
Yes. So that is our hosting platform. So what we're probably going to do is probably find a way to pull the YouTube data, our episodes from,
Mhm.
just for, I guess, let's start with the hero. Either we create a way that the most latest episodes that we publish is here,
Mhm.
or you do it manually.
Right.
So that would be the question: is, do we do this manually, or do we do it?
As one of the monkeys who's currently using my monkey fingers, I would love for it to be automated.
Okay. Well, let's start
And
with that
actually, if it's getting it can't be it can't be automated if it, I mean, it could be, we could put it in a place that would trigger it or create something like that that says when something is added to the Daily AI Show playlist, which creates the YouTube podcast version of our show, because it's just the published videos, I believe.
then.
That could then set up off an automation that does this. Okay, so let's do it as the live stream for now.
Okay. So is that the latest episode? Would
Yep.
that be the latest episode published? Okay. So I'm not going to ask it to do anything. I'm going to ask the chat. So I'm just going to ask, for the video on the homepage, can we make it so whenever we publish a brand new episode, that the homepage automatically displays that episode and people can play it on the homepage. Would you consider that would be the right question to ask?
Yep.
Okay. I remember when I first started using Lovable, it never had this. So whatever you asked, it would just it would just change it. And it was like such a pain.
Like, don't do anything, just talk to me.
Yes, I don't want you to do anything. We need to implement a dynamic system. Cool. I'm assuming I know nothing about coding, so I'll be like, that sounds right.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, that sounds right. And I like it. Let's implement that plan. So technically, it's connected to our YouTube. I think what we'd probably have to do, because if we're gonna, I think from Junmi's perspective, we connect this, we eventually take this prototype and put it into WordPress.
Yes.
Right. So
So
I
would
don't
this,
know. Yes.
would this be a function that's built into WordPress, so we wouldn't need to hard code it? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But like, let's see what it does.
Mhm.
That's a good point. The edits that we're going to do, we also have to think, hey, is this going to be something that in WordPress we can do?
Right.
And maybe I don't know if we look at just pure functionality, but also start looking at aesthetics.
Right. Right.
Yeah. The first aesthetic for me is these three. These three don't make any sense. These three make sense if we manually put a new video, because every time we put a video, it's connected to some sort of tag.
Mm-hmm. I feel like one of the things that this is showing is the way that doing something with vibe coding,
Yes.
like surfaces the things that you haven't done already that you didn't think were going to be a part of this project, right? But
Correct.
we don't tag our shows.
Mm-hmm.
Like we tag our shows in the description, so we have hashtag words, but
Yep.
we don't add tags for each episode that gets published.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing to think about too, is when you go into an episode, right? I forgot to ask, I guess, Jumi last week. If I click on one of these things, it'll have the video.
Mm-hmm.
But this stuff is either, again, manually written or pulling directly from YouTube itself, probably from the API. So that's something we have to think about when we go into the individual episodes.
Yep.
Because I think, Beth, the last thing anybody wants to do is go into a website now, copy and paste the title, copy and paste.
No.
I don't think that's essentially what we want to do.
No, and there's so just in terms of behind the scenes at DOS,
Yeah.
Brian is the one who edits the episode and publishes it after it's recorded, right?
Yeah.
And his edit is pretty basic, but part of what it includes is a description of the video with chapters based on what actually happened in the Daily AI show. So for people listening to this afterwards, we are a panel discussion. We are an unruly panel discussion, right? We have a general idea of what the topic is, and we have some ideas of where we think the show could go, but then the show happens, and then the second description is a description of actually what the show is.
Yes.
So that's what this would be. We would use that as the description.
Correct.
Now, I also do a summary in my post process that so Brian is doing one part, I'm doing another part. They're actually slightly overlapped, but they serve different purposes, and there's no place where they connect with each other, that they're stored somewhere that this could come and grab, and that is one of the pieces. Yes, we should probably do that. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming it has worked, but honestly, we didn't really need it because I think if
Okay.
we went to WordPress, we'd done it.
Okay.
Back to the homepage though. I would like to remove these three.
Okay.
So, how would I say? Can you remove the three tag, I guess, buttons underneath the subtext of what I'm going to discuss in today's episode? So it'd be like dot dot dot. I'd be like, they are machine learning, business AI, and neural networks. Because I don't think we need that there.
Nope.
Okay. So let's do that.
No, because what we're and I have questions about that too. The reason that you'd have those is so that it shows to someone who's on our site making a choice, do they want information about business AI? So yes, this says that they're going to do that, but I'm not sure that's how people would be making decisions when they
Yeah.
come to our site.
Correct.
And the other question that I have, which gets into today's show, right, is the SEO component of having things on your page that say the high ticket SEO words that you want to be found in. And I don't know that the capsule buttons actually, do those impact SEO?
Which
Right?
one? These things?
The words on the capsule buttons, right? I mean, is that because there's a capsule button that says business AI, are we then more likely to get found in business AI? I'm not sure that that's true.
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure why they put this. I think it's just like a placeholder that if we manually put this in,
Yeah.
then the tags would show up here. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah. Remove this.
Yeah. Which is, it's having a little bit of trouble removing them. So I had to put a picture of it to see if it recognizes it. The question I have too is, while it's doing that, do you see how under our sponsor, or when we go to our homepage, do we want like, this will probably change this, right?
Yep.
To like more of welcome to the Daily AI Show, blah, 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 blah. Here's what you should know. And then here would be our latest episode.
Right.
Because how it's laid out right now doesn't make any sense. Because it's June 20th. Like, what does this mean? This means nothing too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So let's remove that. It's much easier for me to do this than try to explain it.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Attach.
The other question I would have is, so this is the homepage for the Daily AI Show. Would we actually switch to the new episodes each time? Is that the most important thing that people are looking for when they hit the homepage?
Based on the conversations I had with Jimmy,
Yeah.
a majority of what we talked about is the website being a content hub.
Right.
So that, yeah.
So in some ways, I'm wondering if this instead of pointing directly to the episode, would it point to potentially the artifacts that came from that episode? So things like generating an infographic based on the episode, the summary kind of stuff. Like it might not be that we're clicking directly. Gareth is saying search for specific content, right? That's another reason that people would come to our homepage.
Yes.
Is is to search for specific content.
So do you think then should we have a search? It's very interesting because I didn't even care about light or dark, but it gave me this button. I'm like, okay,
But
I'll
the
take
light leaves some to be desired because it
100%.
takes out all
Yeah,
of the
it
things.
throws everything off. I don't remember even putting that on. I'm sure. Okay.
This
And
is
then
this is one of the things that like when you're using
Yes.
AI to mimic a dev, your dev also doesn't care about the light view, right? Like
No,
they're
your
only
dev
looking
actually
at
would not put this in because that wouldn't make any sense. It's just like this makes no sense.
but if it put it in, it would put it in a way that it didn't check.
Correct. I also think too, if we're gonna have a search for content feature, should that be up top here? Search for content.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Well,
do that.
Yeah. Because you're going to be searching, people are going to hit the page to likely go into, hey, Cisco, yay. Gareth says it automatically does it. It did it for mine. Is that a search, Gareth? I think that people are going to hit the page, and if they want to find out more about the Daily AI Show, they're going to About the Daily AI Show, right?
Yes.
If they want to like look at building a relationship with us as a sponsor or a guest, they're going to the sponsor page or the guest page. And the episodes, if they want a specific episode or like a really robust search, they are probably going to the episode section. So this,
I think so, because I think also too, if you go to a specific episode, let's say, okay, so these don't work, so gotta that. But let's say, for example, here, right? The only way someone gets into here would either be through an SEO or we've linked this page in the description of the YouTube episode.
We're definitely linking it.
Okay.
I would say, because this should be I am assuming that the naming of these pages would be in a like a pattern based, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So all of that would be tagged with whatever the base is for the episode. Right now, I have a base for our stuff so that we all know what the audio and the video and the thumbnail and the transcript and the comment file and all that have the same beginning part of the name. I don't know that we'd do that in WordPress, but it would be the same kind of thing, that we would have some kind of naming convention for all the assets.
Yeah. Well, let's continue finishing. Oh, sorry, my dog is going crazy. I'll be right back.
Yes. You also maybe have to go in 4 minutes.
No, actually, my meeting is canceled, so I'll hang around.
All right. Awesome. I was thinking we were being pretty relaxed for having like, oh, okay. Here we go. Gareth said that the light to dark was automatic for his website too, which is good. And we wouldn't be able to make this live until after next Friday anyway, because next Friday is our 500th episode. Nice. So I think part of what we're looking at in this is trying to have a scenario where people can get more self-help from engaging in our content. Right now, people engage with each other in the community. Thank you very much. and people also engage with the content on YouTube. I think part of what we're wanting to do is make a bridge for both of those things, or a home where you can do all multiple things in one place, and we provide that, and then give the paths to the other things. Awesome. Welcome back, Carl.
Welcome. Okay. So I'm assuming. So do we want a search bar? Where do we want that search bar? Usually it's up here, but maybe we can make it like here. Like,
I would put it below only if we are going to put a message that we want their eyes to have to see in order to find the search bar. Otherwise, I would go with utility and put it in the top.
just because, like, so from a UI perspective, we put it down here.
Okay.
If part of it would be we want people to search for the episode they're looking for. If we know that people come to our site to search for the episode. If
Right.
not, then we make it smaller and put it up in the nav bar. Just a couple thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's hard to predict because we haven't had a very functional website. So we don't know how people would use it.
Yeah.
If
And I
there's
guess you can easily move it down.
right.
Or
And
move it up.
if they're searching for, like, what is the difference? Are we trying to replicate the functionality that YouTube already gives in terms of searching for our episode?
Not really. I think it's like it just if you put a function
Mhm.
more front and center, like above the fold but below the nav bar,
Mhm.
it brings prominence to it, and that's the action we want people to take. And usually you do that because it's an action you want them to take, or you've seen people the thing that they're doing on your site is this one action,
Mhm.
and you want to make it easier for the person to do that action.
Sure. So let's assume, yes, people are coming and they're trying to find an episode. So we would put the search bar under the watch the full episode.
Okay. Can we create a search bar that searches all the episodes? And can we place that search bar underneath the watch full episode button? So here's a consideration we need though.
Okay.
If we were to create a search function, then we'd also need to have a search results page, which we don't have.
True.
Right? So we would need to build that out, which we can easily build here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to be in the. We
right.
may have
no,
it.
It wouldn't be the top nav.
No. Okay. But let's just stick to one thing at a time here. It's fascinating because when people say, oh, you can build landing pages and websites really quickly, it's like there's a lot of thought process that you still have to go through when you're building the site, even if it's built.
Right.
Right. And even if we did all the PRD stuff and everything, there's so many elements here. Like the next thing I want to talk about is these 3 icons here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want these? Because these would have to be connected to our specific channel. Or do we want these to stay in, but we have to manually update them?
I would have them stay in and manually update. Mm-hmm. I would also say that the only stat that's being represented by that is accurate or will be is 500 plus episodes.
Okay.
So, and what we highlight for sponsors is more about our consistency and the long tail growth than a specific daily viewer count, because we don't have a pattern really for our daily viewers.
What would be, so if we change this, what would we change it to?
Let me pull up what I have as the latest sponsor. And I want to make sure I'm using the latest, so I should actually just go to Canva and grab it. All right. Sponsor. So the best thing about us is our engagement rate, according to stuff. We were also in the top 5% of Spotify video podcasts for 2024. Our engagement rate is about 2.7%, which is higher than the industry average.
Do we want to put that here?
Let's see. Let me switch to show.
Because I'm not sure if, like, will people understand what engagement rate is?
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Viewers, they understand, but I agree with you. I don't think that's a good number to have. Is it like maybe watch hours? Or like total watch hours? Or
our average views is 500 plus per episode. That includes yeah, that's what that says.
Right? Like 500 per episode, I would say 500. Oh no,
it's not per day, because it's
correct.
It goes long tail. And
well, if you talk about consistency, then what we can do here, we could be like 5 days a week, or like live 5 days a week, or something like that. Does that make sense?
Sure.
But would that fit the kind of pattern? So be like, what would that mean? Like, what should we put here? Like 5 days a week? Like with a TV or YouTube, or?
So this is Gareth saying, don't overthink it. Say top of blah 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 blah. I think that this is, again, one of those things that we would probably have a longer meeting with everybody about, to like decide what we wanted to showcase based on how we wanted people to engage with us. I know that we are interested in sponsorship, right? So we would want to give them potentially information, like quick kind of information, to get somebody more interested in working with us.
Okay.
Kara says we're turning so corporate. Well, we're like we're shoestring corporate, yes. I mean, the show was essentially throw it on the wall and see what sticks. And now we're trying to figure out how to make what sticks look look like a sponsorship pitch.
I think what we'd need to do too, from a function. Well, okay, we'll get back to that. We'll change that.
Gareth says, let's have a meeting on how to vibe code.
That is a corporate thing to pretty much. That sounds so corporate.
Yes, but also I feel like we are we're really demoing what it is, which is let's vibe code. And then during vibe coding, we're like, well, what do we want here?
Yes.
Well, what do we want people to do when they get to the site? Exactly. So
that's kind of like what you have to think about, right? Like, you can't just have a site. You actually have like, hey, you have to actually think it through. And this is the kind of stuff that like you have, like, it isn't just, hey, do this. It's like, okay, what do we want?
Right.
One of the
So
things here,
we're doing
I
customer journey for the site, right? Like,
yeah,
what is the
yeah.
customer journey you want people to go? Okay, here, recent episodes. Yeah.
So what I want to do here is I want to this it doesn't work
Hmm.
like clicking. So
So you want it to work at
yeah,
least.
I just want to make sure that this thing. I don't think that's correct.
So is there an advantage at some point? Would we have so much data associated with the episodes that goes behind a paywall, or everything stays available? Because I was having this conversation a little bit with Jen the other day, not necessarily about the website, but the stuff we were talking about was stuff that we might have on the website. And that is, there's a fair amount of research that goes into the websites beforehand. I'm starting to put artifacts together, like the dossier and infographic and those kinds of things. And are those things that being a part of like a paid community or whatever is of value? Or are we moving as much information out into the public, or like maybe not paid, but it's, you get access to it by being a part of our newsletter or Slack community, right? Like, what part of this is everything available to the public with no interaction?
I don't know. Like that would probably be another meeting.
Yeah.
The two, right? So I'm not sure. One okay. Oh good. It works. Yay.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, they work.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure because we don't have an actual episode. So here's another thing, another question for you, just in terms of migration. We have 400 whatever episodes, 500 by the time this site's done. Whose task is it to upload all the episodes in here?
I'm gonna guess that's N8N. But probably something that gets built between June, me, and
Okay. Because yeah, you don't want to do this manually. That's just ridiculous.
No. So I
Right.
would imagine that there is that we would go through and run some I'm assuming Python scripts, but processes with our backend data for the show, and have things built out for each episode. So I have an analysis of the episode and the comments, right? That's something that gets created after shows by me. We have those for probably the last 40 episodes. So we would need to do a batch process that would generate those for all the others. And we would need to scrape the comments for each episode, as well as the transcript. We have the comment scraper we don't have right now for the previous episodes.
Got it.
And then, like, yeah, each of those pieces would get put together. Are we generating like an infographic or something, some sort of interactive thing that gets you to the top key points? I think I think those are actually kind of doable based on the processes that we use now. We just haven't done them historically. And I know that one of the things that we talked about for WordPress hosting the site was WordPress. WordPress doesn't maybe have a way of interacting with the sort. Like, We were talking with Carl and Junmi about we would want to create each of the episode pages in sequence. So you start with one and you get down to 500 or 501 or wherever we
Yeah.
are, so that they're all in sequence within WordPress's like function.
In chronological order, not or reverse chronological order.
I
Yeah,
don't.
reverse. You don't like, so for example, if you go to the all episodes page, right? You
Yeah.
obviously want the most recent episode top,
Right.
not at the bottom, right?
But that's going to be a, can you do it in reverse
Yeah.
chronological order?
Hmm.
But don't you have to do it in chronological order to be able to then now do it in reverse chronological order, so that page 001 is the episode of 001, and
I
page,
think that that's fine. Like when you, like, what do you mean? So like if you go to this episode's page, we want the latest episode thing to be
right,
here.
right.
Yeah. Um, are you talking about like when you upload it? Like what do you mean?
Yes, because that was what Aaron was saying.
Oh, right.
That
I guess like yeah.
you had to have all of you had he was thinking that you needed to have everything that you wanted on the page with the episode done before you create the episode. We ultimately came to, no, we just need the YouTube link, right? Like the YouTube link will be the holding space for the page of the episode. We could also just have a headline that says episode number and nothing else on the page. But in pulling all of that together, we need to do it in the order in which it makes sense for the new page that gets created to be the next in the sequence of the next day. That's all. Right? So
Yeah. Okay.
the
I'm not
most,
sure if I follow, but thing is, it's not, I don't think that will be relevant until we actually get to that point.
okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I also think like based on just like how WordPress works in terms of being a content hub, the first thing is like, how are we going to do it? And
Yep.
then when you figure out how, then yeah, we want to make it as easy as possible to like, if you're going to go one,
Mhm.
or you do it in reverse chronological order. So
Mhm.
you're like the latest one first, and then you go down the list to the very first one. Because I would also argue our latest ones would be the ones that people want to get to first. So instead
Right.
of trying to go the first one up, then go our latest one to the next one. I just think like
Yes.
that way, at least these ones, and then the next 7 of these will be the most recent one, and people will see that,
Absolutely.
right?
I totally agree with that. And so
Okay.
um, that just means that the way that the pages get named, either yeah, we'd have to see like what order they have to be loaded in, and
Mhm.
and how they're named. If they go with the naming convention that I'm using, those would automatically happen because that's the way I'm it starts with
Yeah.
year, month, day.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess we'll see like
Yeah.
how that works, right? Okay, so let's go back to
So one thing that I'm
Mhm.
seeing at this top, we would likely also want an events menu for workshops, and like if there's a thing that we're moving into.
Okay, do you want me to build out that? Okay, so can an events page?
Yeah, but
Yeah. Okay.
also yes, that's
Yeah.
also likely to be a WordPress function when we put it up, right?
So that's the question. Is I think we should probably build that page out here.
Okay.
Then how? Unless you think, because we don't have any templates right now. We have no templates,
Mhm.
so we probably want to build that page out
Okay.
and then kind of edit it here. Unless you want to wait, but I
Nope.
think like we could just do that here.
Let's just do it.
Yeah. Can we create another separate page called an events page and add that to the top, to the nav bar up top. Let's see. What elements do we want in that nav page into that element, the events page?
Probably a list view, right, of events, and maybe a calendar view. I'm not sure that I see us having giant numbers of events unless we're including the live streams as events.
Okay.
But I'm thinking more in terms of, hey, there's an AMA in the community on this date, or we've got a workshop. We've got a couple workshops coming up this month that are on these specific dates.
Question: do we need this for our MVP or not?
We don't, but it will be something that we use soon. I think it's in the same time period as sponsors and the full episode library.
Upcoming events. And I also think then if we're going to have a list of upcoming events, did you say calendar or?
I said I'm not sure calendar is going to be that full, but yes, I think people expect calendar, so let's just include a calendar view.
Okay. Calendar list.
Because my question is then, is that something that we add the live streams when they get scheduled to the episodes? I mean, to the calendar.
I don't know. The thing is, though, should I put a placeholder for a calendar or have it built? So it's either you pull it from a separate calendar or you manually put this in.
Put a placeholder because it would definitely be built somewhere else.
Placeholder. Okay. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever. Let's just go with it and we can fix it. Cool. Is there anything on the homepage you want to add? Anything else? I mean, we want to add. So we're adding events piece here.
Well, I start where my mind goes in this kind of stuff would be, do we have the Daily AI Show comics? I'm not sure what Brian calls them, but there's one in every newsletter. Do we have like a place where all of those are listed, right? Because right now you'd go to each episode of the newsletter and look at the section that is that. Are there specific pieces that we would pull out that those things would be? So like that kind of stuff. But again, I don't know that that's how, that wouldn't be part of the MVP, I guess is what I would say.
Yeah. And then the question is, does someone manually put that in? And then how often is that updated? And then if it isn't, like, is there a way to pull it from somewhere? Yeah. Okay.
Part of what we're looking at on the back end is what systems need to be in place so that the content that we publish on our website is able to be automated in general versus adding new monkey finger cut and paste.
Well, the last thing we want to do is make this site to the point where you have to update it on a regular basis, right?
Right.
So I think like yeah, try to keep it as simple as possible. So, because yeah, we could make something really cool, but then if it requires a lot of updates, it's just more work.
Yep. Hey,
Cool.
that's what we're trying to do with publishing shows that we create
Yeah.
before we publishing the live streams.
Do you think we need anything? Well, before we get into aesthetics of this page, any other functions and features we need to do?
The newsletter at the bottom should be our newsletter.
Like this thing?
Yeah, right. We don't do daily AI insights.
Oh, the text. We could probably. What do you
Oh,
want to
and that's
say?
browse all episodes. No, it's not the newsletter subscribe. Is it? It is. Subscribe to updates.
Yeah. So, do you want to change the text, or did you want to like?
It does not have to be now, but when you're saying like, what else would this be in order to be published? In order to start the transition to YouTube and see what parts of this would then be transferred to that platform. The stay updated with daily AI insights is not a product we have currently.
Oh no! I mean, like, do you want to like? We can easily, if we do this on a CMS, this thing is easily changeable, like
Right.
from a text perspective.
Right.
Like,
So that's fine.
yeah, I didn't think we needed to do that, and these buttons are changeable too. Like
Right.
that's pretty straightforward.
So
So
then I think this is good.
yeah, is it okay? We only have a couple of minutes left. Let's change a bit about the aesthetics because this one's bothering me like a lot.
Okay.
The login button at the top right. Why do we even need that? We don't even need that.
It's not part of the MVP.
No. Can we remove that?
Yep.
No. Sorry. I was just.
You're asking.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask that. So that's part one, and then I also think like the. I should probably take this.
So one of the other things that we have as part of this transition is that the colors that we use to create our logo and the sort of highlight colors that we've chosen periodically are not colors that we would are not colors that would stay the same. So if we have a dark blue in our logo. It is, I was just on it. The hex code is 004 AAD. And that is kind of just like
is that the primary color?
Yes.
Okay. Change the primary.
But I don't think we're going to want to do that. And I can guarantee you Jimmy's going to come back and say, what do we do?
Okay. Don't do that right now?
We can. But I think this is another thing that we're going to end up talking a little bit about in terms of if we're moving in this direction, that blue would likely be to like main character energy to be the background of the page, right? Like that can't be the background color of the page. I kind of like this navy blue, honestly. Purple isn't our accent color, but
what is our accent color?
We have a teal or a
do you have the do you have do you have the palette for that?
I do. It's also going to be Right. So I'm going to give you the revised one. Yes. It is pasted in the private chat. 21 CED4.
Is that correct?
Yeah. We may
Okay.
end up doing like we'll have to see in terms of it being a background for buttons. If the white shows up, maybe that we want to go a little darker, but let's try it.
It's probably my last change because I got to run here, but
yeah. And Junmi has been wanting us to get off those two colors as our primary colors since like the day after we decided them all.
okay. I'll make this change. I gotta prep for my meeting, which my meeting person is just arrived. So
Nice. Okay.
do you want what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it. We'll leave this on a cliffhanger. We'll see what it looks like.
Okay. That's cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.
Join us next time, everybody, for revealing what the turquoise looks like. All right. Thanks. I'm going to end the stream. Bye.